stocks show some early strength. We saw services PMI come out strong in Germany and the EU, slightly off expectations, but still well into expansion territory in the UK. And we're seeing yields come off a little bit. 30 years now down 4, 10 years down 4, 5-year down 2, 2-year down 1. They're still up on the week, but getting a little bit of a breather today. That is pushing stocks higher. The Russell's up 1.06%. As I speak to you right now, the NASDAQ up about 0.8%, the S&P about 0.6%, and the Dow about 1/3%. Another new all-time high in gold, and then some weakness. Gold, silver, and crude oil are all slightly lower, but I mean barely below the flat line, especially in the case of gold and crude oil. But copper is up by almost 0.9%. We're seeing the dollar a little bit more stable than we saw over the last couple of days, so that's something to keep an eye on. Payrolls are coming out tomorrow. We're talking about U.S. non-farm payrolls, biggest number of the month as always. And the early expectations were for somewhere around 200,000, but the whisper numbers are starting to come in a little bit higher than that. Some of it based off of ADP, some of it based off of the manufacturing payrolls that we saw in the ISM manufacturing PMI, but we're now seeing whisper numbers somewhere around 216, 220, so keep an eye on that. A little bit of a beat by that much versus the expectations may not be that big of a deal. Looking ahead, more Fed speak today, including Richmond Fed President Thomas Barkin, Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee, Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester, Fed Governor Adriana Kugler tonight, and the new St. Louis Fed President Alberto Mussolem is speaking tonight as well. There's nothing really interesting on the earnings front. Data tonight, household spending in Japan along with their coincident index tomorrow, UK construction PMI, retail sales in the EU, employment data in Canada, and I already mentioned the non-farm payrolls in the US. But we also have speeches from Boston Fed President Lisa Collins, Richmond Fed President Thomas Barkin, and Fed Governor Michelle Bowman.